I will know that you have strayed from your path, and I will punish your failure as I would reward your success.
Order and chaos, a goddess divided, judgment, hope, and an ancient covenant. All armies march toward the goddess's tower to learn what has happened to their world. Part 4, Gods and Men.
Welcome back to Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Last time we completed our preparations to storm the Tower of Guidance, and now it's finally time for Endgame. I'm so excited. I love Radiant Dawn Endgame so much. This is the absolute highlight of this game for me. It brings me so much joy to finally be recording Endgame. One thing that I want to mention first, though, is that Endgame has a lot of documented extended script changes, so I'm going to be briefly summarizing them as we go through the dialogue. Of course, home field advantage and all that. Now, Endgame is interspersed with a lot of these fully voiced flashbacks.
So, you were companion to the very first Empress Altina. I am honored that you have chosen to speak with me.
You would trust in the word of a stranger?
Yes, I can see inside you. I know you cannot speak lies.
Is it possible? Do you share some aspect of my power?
I do, as did my mother. Generation after generation, each apostle has been blessed to hear the voice of the goddess. We know of impending disasters, how crops will fare. All revelations originally intended for you.
The children of my union with Altina. I had no idea.
Please, look at this.
That mark.
All of the apostles have borne this brand. It is our greatest secret. The senators must never know. Because of this brand, I thought that I had been born of some great sin. It plagued me always. Guilt tore at me every day as I hid my mark from my people, deceiving them constantly about my true nature.
Oh, child, how can I apologize to you?
And yet now that I've met you, I understand. There is no shame in thy heritage. None at all. I will not live in hiding. I will reveal to the world that I am one of the branded. They must see there is no shame in who I am.
No, you mustn't. You don't understand the danger you will be placing yourself in.
Oh, but I do. The senators will do their utmost to rally the people against me, as they did when I freed the Lagoos from slavery. But I will not be deterred. If I am to lead this nation, I cannot allow it to be corrupted by prejudice and hatred. I can put the life the goddess has given me to no greater good than this.
Such determination. Your eyes, they very much resemble Altina's.
I will stand before my people and proudly proclaim the truth. And then I will guide them to a just and honest future. This is my promise to you.
Thank you. Your strength of will, the truth that guides your life. You have shown me the way back to myself. I shall return to Goldoa and tell my friends of you and your actions. I will tell them that Laguz and Bjork may once again live together in peace. I will tell them that there is hope.
Thank you, father of my mothers. I I strive to be worthy of the gift of life you have granted me.
I'm not sure who voices the female voice in that scene, but I know the male voice is the same person who voiced Ranulph earlier in the game, and someone else that we'll be hearing from later in Endgame to hilarious effect. But we learned a few things from that. It seems like the line of the Apostle are all branded. That's interesting. And we never knew the name of that female voice, but it should be pretty clear who that was, and what that happened shortly before. I think it's becoming clear why she got assassinated. And through this door is our first obstacle. Finally. We finally get to settle things with you. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Look who's talking. And these lines involving Micaiah, all of this was added in the localization. I do like they made a real effort to flesh out the Blood Pact and make it less of a convenient plot point. Yeah, but everyone in Dayan is stone, so it's not exactly gonna work at the moment. And yes, this is also the reason why this is localization only, because this detail didn't exist in the Japanese version. Of course, he's a giant idiot and has the scroll on him. So this should be easy. Now remember this line as we go further into Endgame. It gets particularly ironic. Now, in the Japanese version, this is where the dialogue with Lekane really began. You know, there's a character in, this seems like a weird tangent, but bear with me, there's a character in Trails of Cold Steel 2 that the actual localization notes referred to as a man determined to go for gold in the giant piece of S Olympics. I think he has some serious competition from Lekane. Also, warning, Lekane's gonna give a massive exposition dump here. The extended script only added a few sentences to this dump, so it's mostly the same. Oh, by the way, the previous flashback, that's identical in the extended scripts. I mean, she was 5 years old, what did you expect? Also, in the extended script, they mention that this is because she was separated from her mother. It's an interesting detail that I wish this script had included. He was pretty much the one person who she knew of power who wasn't completely corrupt to the core. This is actually, I mean, for a villain, this guy kinda has a point. So those two are going to be figureheads while the senators just did whatever they wanted in the shadows. Now this line is a little different in the extended script. Instead of Daean occupation, he says sending troops to Crimea. Now, considering that it was Alincia who objected to Valtome marching into Crimea in this game and not Sanaki, I'm guessing this refers to the previous game, which is kind of interesting. That would imply that the senators would have approved Alincia's request for Bednion aid in the war against Daean more readily than Sanaki would, and I guess that makes sense because it would help them get control of Daean. And that's when they snapped and engaged in a full-on coup. But then the Holy Guard rescued her, and Zelgius rescued Sephiron, so you completely failed at that plan. Great men in giant inverted commas. And in the extended script she says, "and my sister." So, this line is weird. It's actually wrong in the translation. They must have messed this up. It's supposed to be the assassination of the previous apostle, which makes way more sense, and that's what it says in the extended script, so yeah. I can understand why they mistranslated that. Obviously, there was no plot to frame the Herons for Sanaki's death, because the Herons were all gone by then. I'd say more than slightly. I'd also say that you horribly underestimated her. Also, this speech by Sanaki is slightly longer in the extended script, though not by much. And Lekain's gloating here is a little bit longer, but again, not by much. And with that, it's time to begin Endgame Part 1. This is the last route chapter in the game, thankfully, but also thankfully, it's a much better route chapter than 4-4, and I find this one really fun, actually. It's a great indicator of what Endgame actually is. You rampaging through a bunch of enemies with all of your trained characters from the entire game, your personal band of legendary heroes. The enemies are very strong, but so are we. So yeah, we have some generals here, lots of generals here, so hammers are pretty useful at this point. The only reason I'm not going to be using a hammer here is I want to save one for something silly in the next chapter. We also have a bunch of sleep staves. We have one on you, and we also have Hetzel here. Sadly, this is a route chapter, so he has to die. He has no weapons, but he does have a silence and a sleep staff. That's his main threat. You kind of want to take him out quickly. And we also have Lekain himself. He's now packing the ultimate light tome Rex Aura, and he still has Coroner, so be prepared to take a guaranteed 47 damage if he attacks you. And his stats are pretty much okay, but the main thing to watch out for is that he's standing on a square that's labeled as cover. So the Tower of Guidance has some very interesting terrain types. This is Wardwood, it gives plus 10 resistance. That's also Wardwood, but the thing that Lekain's standing on is cover, and you can see more cover down here. This gives plus 10 defense. So parity is good for ignoring those bonuses. We also have some mages here, including a couple of mages with siege stones. This guy in particular, he's stuck on a ledge in the middle of nowhere, so getting to him requires range, or a siege tome of your own. I kind of like taking him out with my own blizzard. But these mages down here, they actually hit pretty hard, though they are stupidly slow by endgame standards. Physics staff there, another silver bow. There's one sniper in particular that you want to pay attention to, this guy right here, because he has another one of our missing SS weapons, the double bow. In Path of Radiance, the double bow was virtually useless. In Radiant Dawn, it's so much better. Yes, you're reading that right, it's a 1-to-2 range bow. If you're using a marksman in Endgame, be sure to grab this as soon as you can, because it's amazing. In fact, he's in a perfect position to be shot by my own marksman. In fact, I could probably try shooting him with Rolf from here. So, as for my positioning, I'm going to be splitting into 3 groups, one that will head down each path, and each group is going to have a status curing staff with it. So, the status curer for the center will be Soren, the status cure for this side here will be Micaiah, and the status curer for the other side will be Alincia. So I think I'm going to actually have Edward take on that side. Aaron is going to take on... Who's Nephany supporting, by the way? Nephany is supporting Rolf. I kind of want Nephany to go down that side. Jill is going to actually go there in preparation for flying. Aaron and Edward will go on that side. Ina will actually stay as close to the center as she can, because she's going to be needed for support. Nasala should be heading as far forward as he can. Rolf actually needs to... Yeah, I don't really care where Soth starts, because I do want to deploy Soth, but it's only because of this chest. This chest contains the SS-ranked staff, so make sure you get that before the chapter is over. And let's see, I think those positions are right, except for one thing. I mentioned this before, but even though Sanaki, Kurthnaga, and Soth are all required to be brought to Endgame, they don't have to be deployed, so... I'm not going to bring Kurthnaga. I am going to bring Sanaki, though, because Sanaki really needs to be here. She'll go and fight some generals over on that side. And it looks like, yeah, my positioning is good, so... Let's go ahead and save and then begin the chapter. Okay, let's freaking do this. With the most epic phase fanfare ever, and one of my favorite map themes in the game. This is simply called Ascent, and I love it. I wish the song was in Smash Brothers. Anyway, we have 48 tower guards to defeat, led by Lekane. We lose if either Ike or Micaiah dies. Now, this is actually kind of an interesting distinction. From this point on, only Ike and Micaiah give a game over if they die. Meaning that in Endgame, I might pause for a bit because we're about to hear the Endgame battle theme, which is actually a new one. That song is called Finale in Fear. It actually first plays back in 3.13 on anyone Ike attacks during the enemy phase. But it's going to be our battle theme for the rest of Endgame, apart from Lagoo's Royals, who get their own battle themes still. I love Finale in Fear, so I don't mind the fact we're going to be hearing it a lot from here on. It's just such a great theme to conclude the Tellius saga on. But what I was saying is that in Endgame, many characters have their plot armor revoked. So basically, characters like Soren, Titania, and Mist, I'm pretty sure all 3 of them can actually die in Endgame. Like, as in physically die. I love this part of the song, by the way. Anyway, I kind of like to snipe at least one of these guys with Soren, and I'm going to do it with the bolting guy, because otherwise he's going to go for Ina, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. I'm going to use Leanne to refresh Soren, so Soren doesn't have Blizzard equipped in the enemy phase, don't worry. That was good. Speed's nice. 1 more point to her cap speed. And here, Rolf is going to go ahead and here's also just a showing of what Gamble does with Marksman. 60 hit and 76 crit is not bad, but you probably get better use out of just regularly attacking. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try and snipe this guy from 3 rings so he doesn't actually get to counter me, and thankfully do exactly enough damage. Give me your bow. Huh, that's actually pretty cool. Corrosion did not seem to corrode the double bow. That's good. And now that we have a 1-2 range bow, we don't need this anymore. I don't think there's anything in Endgame that's weak to crossbows, so yeah, no need for crossbows ever again. We now have the 1-2 range bow. And again, I'm going to refresh Rolf with Leanne so that Rolf can actually equip that. Firstly, though, let's see what we do. Actually, Aaron's going to go up here. and do exactly enough damage to kill off this general. Something I should also mention is that the Endgame generic enemies apparently had their stats buffed in the English version. Now, I've never actually seen Endgame in the Japanese version, so I'm not really sure how much they were buffed, but according to Serene's Forest, they did get their stats increased slightly. I actually do approve of that. It means that Endgame is not a total joke, even with third-tier characters. You know what, I'm going to go with the Brave Sword here. We got this all the way back in part 1 from Pelias, so it's only fitting we're using it now. I am extremely surprised that Edward didn't activate any skills there. That's absurdly unlucky. Oh well. In fact, in that case... Hey, Sanaki, you can actually finish off something for once. You know, I had a feeling she'd get Flare. Still love that animation. I don't actually have Sanaki in Heroes. I don't really know how good she is. But, I mean, from what little I've seen of her, she kind of looks like a slightly worse Lilina. Lilina at least got 4 Blaze recently, which is apparently pretty good. Well, speed helps, but 25 speed's still not great. That puts her, like, equal with the... Oh, it's a little higher than these generals, but still not enough to double them. I'm going to actually have Jill go here for now, because that actually puts her in support range with Aaron. What should I use? Silver Pole... Actually, why the heck am I using Silver Poleaxe? And, of course, I do 1 damage off killing you. Nice. And you... I probably should actually go for a Micro Command with a higher crit rate. I can't actually activate stun this way, but I want to make sure that if Jill goes up, because she's going to go up and plug the stairs just a little further up. And she's probably going to get put to sleep, because that's usually what happens, and that's why I didn't... On a few practice attempts of this, I had Jill take out the bolting guy, but when that happens, she usually gets put to sleep, and then everything just gangs up on her and she dies, because everything auto-hits you when you're asleep. But if I put her here, there won't be many enemies able to attack her, even if she does fall asleep, so I can go ahead and do that. And she has Nullify, so the Thunder Mages aren't a threat. Alright, so there's that. Next step is... I wish Micaiah could double these generals, but she cannot. I feel like even with... Yeah, even if she gets Coroner, which, by the way, she does have now, I don't think she'll one-shot them. No, she's not one-shotting them even with Coroner. Sadly. In fact, I'm going to keep you just in case I need to physics staff someone. Why not use Dauntless here? I feel like the leftmost side of the map is by far the easiest part of the map to clear out. There's nothing much that's particularly threatening over on this side of the map, except for the double bow guy, but he's... I mean, if you have your own marksman, you can take him out with 3 range like I did and not risk getting countered by him. Let's go for the Vargati. Yeah, I've given this to Mia because she has 1 less of a strength cap than Edward, so I thought she deserved the higher might weapon more. And this is why I kept the physics. Wow, my True Blades are not activating their skills today. That's a real shame. I do have a Lincia for staff duty though, so maybe I can afford to have Micaiah kill this thing. I'm almost certainly going to end up having to use, And there's Coroner. I love that little ball of light that just appears from her. I wonder if that's a manifestation of Yune or not. It might be. But yeah, I'm almost certainly going to have to arm scroll Micaiah's ranks up. I definitely want her to get to an SS in Staves. Light, maybe, because I want to at least show off the SS Light. It does not deserve to be used by Lekane at all. Okay, now Pelias. Pelias is going to... Okay, this area is not actually plugged. Gotta beware of that. But for now, yeah, let's have Pelias... That guy is sadly standing on Wardwood, so in fact I might wait a little bit and have Leanne do a chant first. Oh, Leanne has Sorrow now. So Sorrow sets an enemy's biorhythm to lowest. Not really the most useful of effects, but I wish that they did a little more with the biorhythm manipulation skills, because by the time you get them, biorhythm is just not much of a threat at all. Okay. I have an idea here. I think Soren's going to go over here. That is, I believe, still in support range of Ike. I would snipe this guy with Blizzard if I could, but I can't. And I suppose I can... Rex Caliber's actually overkill against you, so... Not exactly, it doesn't exactly have the most uses in the world, so I might want to save that. If Arcwind is enough to kill, I'll go for Arcwind, even though Rex Caliber looks extremely cool. Don't know if I've shown the actual, like, physical battle animation of Rex Caliber yet. I've definitely shown the map animation. Now, Soren does have Shade, so things might ignore him. Oh, by the way, this guy loves to go for Ina. You'll probably see that in the enemy phase. Yeah, for the moment, I kind of want Rolf to go here, and not Silencer. Double bow. Actually, does pretty decently there. Even better if he's in Ina's, Blood Tide range. And here's some 1-2 range Archer action. Someone in the comments pointed out, and I actually think this is really cool, they think Ina makes perfect sense as a support unit. With a buffing skill, because she was Ashnar's tactician in the previous war, so of course she'd, you know, her +5 strength and skill might represent her instructing the fighters around her to fight better, which is actually a pretty cool touch. Yeah, that's definitely more effective. And I still love how Vareen looks. It's like a dark tornado, which is actually kind of what Imhulu actually, weird tangent, but Garneff's signature spell, Imhulu, I think it's like Arabic for demonic wind or something like that. And in Japanese it was called Mafu, which is literally Japanese for demonic wind. So that's what it's supposed to be, even though it doesn't really look like wind in most of its animations. I remember early fan translation used to call it Marth, M-A-P-H, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Mafu, as in, again, Japanese for demonic wind. I think I'll send Elincia over here for now. So I hope you're getting a good taste of what my chosen ones, because yes, that's literally what your party is called at this point. I love that. What my chosen ones can do. This is why I love Endgame so much. It's just you and your personal group of legendary heroes just tearing through enemies with their ultimate skills, ultimate weapons. It's just so fun overall. Well, it's all fun in games until someone gets put to sleep and ganged up on and killed, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Going for silence on Soren. Okay then. Within that mist, I'd rather you do that than sleep. And nice! Okay, that was actually an extremely lucky status style phase. Because depending on how things go this turn, I might actually be able to break through and have Masala kill one of the sleep bishops. I love how dragons just walk backwards casually to dodge things. Still probably not quite as cool as Swordmaster in the GBA games, who just nonchalantly lean their body sideways, but that's kind of cool. I can't believe you thought you stood a chance against Jill. Unfortunately, you did not get any skills. Well, by any skills I mean stun, because that's the only thing you have. Okay, well, good news, Rolf didn't get put to sleep. Bad news, I would like Rolf to dodge this, please. Nice. And if Rolf was in range of Ina, he'd be one-shotting this guy, but it doesn't matter because the double bow has a ridiculously generous 50 uses. It's not going to break, trust me. I'm not sure why they gave the SS spells 15 uses and the SS, like, physical weapons 50. Oh wait, I know, it's because mages suck in Radiant Dawn. That being said though, I've actually, like, Peleus has really impressed me so far. I've got a lot more use out of him than I thought I would, particularly due to his very high, well, yeah, decently high defense for a magic user. And speaking of Lagu's Royals, what are the odds that, at the time, I need to click here. At the time this video goes up, they just announced a Lagu's Royal banner in Heroes. We know that Tiban and Nyla are going to be part of it, but if Nisala and Kanegas are in too, oh boy, I might actually end up spending money, because that'll be a banner where I want all 4 of its characters. Okay, I'm glad you did that and did not attack Rolf. That's good. Because if both of you would hit roll, that might have been a problem. And is that... Oh, that's not going to be range, unfortunately. And in dodge anyway. I love the Archsage dodge animations too. Yeah, Archsages look very, very cool, but they're sadly not an amazing class in this one. But they are pretty good at getting rid of these generals, at least when you're wanting to save your hammer for something else. Normally, I just hammer all these generals. Even without Paragon, Peleus is still leveling up like crazy. Speed's good. Yeah, Soren is still beating him in speed despite having a lower speed growth, and Soren will beat him in speed in the end because he has a higher speed cap. Yeah, the, caps on mages are really... Well, everything on mages are really illogical in this game. Please miss. Good. These guys do hit very hard, but they're not exactly that accurate. And yeah, we still have this battle theme. I kind of wish they gave the enemy a different enemy phase battle theme, because they do have a different phase fanfare in Endgame, but sadly, they still have this song, which I think is called, again, it's really ironically named, Embodiment of Change, which these things are literally the exact opposite of that. And now you're going to slowly clank towards me. Peleus should be hitting an SS rank in Dark pretty soon, and then we'll finally get to see Balbereth, because we never got to see Yazuka using it. Lekane, unfortunately, has a little bit of insurance against the getting caught after equipping the rewarp staff thing, because he likes to rewarp to a location where it's hard to attack him physically. So that's kind of a shame. Because the character that I must have kill Lekane is a physical character, so we'll be seeing that eventually. Lekane also has one other trick up his sleeve that we may or may not see going further into this chapter. We probably will see it, but it's interesting. I'll say that. And I'll need to talk about it once we get there, because it's something kind of important. We'll be seeing more of it later in Endgame. There we go. I was about to say, is one stun too much to ask? But we got one. Rare example of enemy surviving stun. Oh, wait. Yeah. I guess one other thing that I can say here, while the enemy phase is still going on, although it probably won't be going on for much longer, when I found out that Fire Emblem was getting more stages in Smash Brothers, I think this was back in the days of Brawl, actually. Also, we get a couple of reinforcements here. This is back in the days of Brawl. These guys both have brave weapons, but... Oh, look! You have a brave axe! I have a Mia! Yeah... Goodbye. Hopefully. My True Blades have not been getting lucky with skills in this attempt. And they still aren't. But yeah, what I was saying is, back in Brawl, you know what Fire Emblem-related stage that I really wanted to appear in Smash Brothers? Tower of Guidance. I always thought that would be such a cool idea for a Fire Emblem stage, and I think still to this day, Arena Ferox is the only Fire Emblem stage we have in Smash that represents an actual location. I guess Castle Siege does have Dayan banners, and I like to think Castle Siege is actually 313, because there appear to be Begnion-looking generals there, and, well, I mean, it's not exactly 313, there's Begnion-looking generals. Anyway, I still like to think that Castle Siege is 313 in Radiant Dawn, but it's never explicitly confirmed to be Radiant Dawn 313. But, yeah, so far, Arena Ferox is the only stage we have that, I'd probably rather get Edward a good experience against those mages, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and have Aaron take you down. And get a support with Jill going too. The only stage that's based on a real location in the Fire Emblem, and I still think Tower of Guidance would be such a good concept for a Smash Brothers stage. You could have it like the Pokemon League stage in Smash 4, and have it like you're constantly moving up the tower, and maybe cameos from certain bosses from Endgame, and, you know, maybe even Ashura herself or Yune. That'd be a bit of a spoiler, but as I've said before, Smash Brothers is no stranger to giant spoilers. So yeah, I would love to see a Tower of Guidance stage in Smash Brothers. It would just be so cool. Finally, we're getting some skills. I still love Tempest Blades. The weird thing about Tempest Blades is that, The other SS rank sword we'll be getting in Endgame is basically just a Tempest Blade with better accuracy. It's pretty weird. Did I forgot to give you the spare Meteor Tomes. If you had a Meteor Tome, you could take out that guy. It's really, really unfortunate, actually. You have, you know what? Probably best if I go for this. But if Jill stays there and she gets put to sleep, 3 things will be able to actually... A lot of mages will be able to attack her. I'm actually going to do this and then retreat Jill 1 space so that, in any case, less things will be able to attack her in the event she does fall asleep. Though I think Edward may have lower resistance, and if he falls asleep and gets crit by that sniper, that might not be good. However, Elincia can just take him out. I guess one thing I can say, remember how I said earlier that I feel there's a reason why the Disciples of Order have yellow skin? This is because, a lot of people make jokes about them being Simpsons characters, but no. I think this is because, they are, well, at least starting from this point, they're all undead. Okay, that's actually a problem, because I like to have Nephany up there, getting rid of those mages with her ranged weapons, but I doubt Micaiah can take out this general on her own. But I want Helly still in the front. In fact, maybe I'll need to use Soren to... Or I could... Can I multiple shove Saniki over there? Doesn't look like I'll be able to do that, so for now I'm just going to have to do this. So that's... I was just thinking I think Leanne might be best used on the front, well, front. But... Something about Leanne is, I'm actually a little concerned about her getting to an S support, to an A support. Well, it's technically an S support because, I mean, yeah, don't want to spoil the epilogue, but you can probably tell what happens between them. Yeah, I need to get them to an A support by the end of the game, and I'm at the moment a little concerned whether I'll be able to do this. Don't necessarily want to rush Pelea straight forward, but let's go ahead and have you... Oh, you have Physic, I guess. And I much prefer having Ike get all the way up here and get stuck in. Though we'd kind of like Enid to go up there. 1 for the +5 strength and 2 for Boon, in case Ike gets put to sleep. There will eventually be reinforcements coming from right behind us. I forget how late into the chapter they spawn, but they definitely are there, and 1 experience away from a Blossom level up that will hopefully include speed. If it doesn't, I'm going to be very annoyed. How far can... Okay, Leanne can go very, very far. The question just remains, though, whether doing that is good or not. Wherever Soren goes, he needs to stay in support range of Ike. You're on Wardwood, aren't you? And you're still dying to Rex Caliber. And Soren does have 40 magic, so that kind of makes sense. Anyway, here's Rex Caliber's battle animation. I may have shown it earlier in the playthrough, but it's pretty cool looking. And nice, 0 hit rate on this guy. Thank you, Ike Earth support. So yeah, it's only the second turn already we're through the vast majority of the enemies. Endgame 1 is not particularly a long chapter. That's why I like it as a route map far better than many others. There's only one disadvantage of this being a route chapter in my opinion, and that's the fact that Hetzel can't be spared. I'll be talking about that later. Yeah, I thought you capped at least something, but you've capped skill now. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure you're already at the point where it's more effective to bonus experience you than level you up normally. Okay, I really want to get a Leanne chant for, Nisala, but if I do that, I really don't want her to be in range of enemies for obvious reasons. Okay, Rolf can actually go there, though, and double bow that, although I'd probably rather that guy die. Not that Blizzard's particularly threatening to anyone here. I mean, it's got effectiveness against Nisala, but he's not going to get hit by it. And Elincia, but she's, again, like, she doesn't really have that much to worry about there. It's actually my second time bringing Rolf to Endgame. I used him on my second playthrough, but he is definitely not as bulky as Shinnon is, which can be a problem. Yeah, I definitely want to get a chance from Sala. How about this? It's always weird using Physic when you're this close to someone, but if it's the best staff you have... How close are you to an SS and... Actually, pretty close to an SS in Dark. One thing that I may have forgotten to mention is that usually higher ranked and heavier weapons give you more weapon experience. So that's probably why Micaiah has had such a, has been so behind in her light rank for this playthrough, because I've had her to just constantly use Fanny, which I believe is only 1 weapon experience, or it might be 2, but Shine gives a lot more. Okay, I suppose I can go for Leanne here. I'm not going to do Converse with Nisala, because if I did, their conversation is really, really unfitting. Does not make sense for a Nisala and Leanne support at all. That's sadly just part of this game. I guess I have to use this to one-round you. I do like how they put this random Blizzard mage just on a singular region in the middle of nowhere. He thinks he's safe there. How wrong he is. Yeah, you've already heard more than a full loop of Finale and Fear, but I think it's a great song. And Ascent is a really good map theme, which we'll be here for all the rest of Endgame, so it's a good thing. It is a good map theme. Okay, down, and, yeah. I don't want him to get attacked by too many things. I don't think that, like, I'm pretty much positive that, Leanne can't get hit by anything this turn. Oh, I really, really wanted, this, yeah. You are definitely going to one-shot Micaiah, aren't you? Actually, she has 20 defense. However, if I put Nephany there, you're all just going to attack me anyway, so... Sadly, I kind of have to do this, and... that doesn't actually get me in range. I shall use the Pink Punisher! Actually, it does look more purple in the battle animations. It's always funny when you activate Disarm and then the enemy just dies anyway. Yeah, like, the real point of Disarm is supposed to be so you can steal their weapons afterwards, which technically I could still do, although his strength is not great. But not a lot of weapons have above 24 weight, so yeah. That is one, yeah, it's a thing, I like the strength weight system, and I like it a lot more than the constitution weight system, but it really stops being relevant entirely once you get above, well, my physical attackers, they stop needing to care about weight very, very early in their levels, so, yeah. I kind of feel like they should have made some weapons heavier to compensate for this. Okay, you're gone. Haven't actually used Alintia to heal very much so far, which is a bit strange. And, haven't actually moved Masala yet. And that's because I was actually going to do this. One less sleep staff is always a good thing. That just leaves Hetzel. At least he's still get to hear Nasal's battle theme. I'm really hoping that he gets into that hero's banner. But we'll see. Okay then, interesting. Yeah, Peleus does tend to get hit by silence sometimes, but my view on that is better him than Soren, because Soren actually has my restore staff. Once again, Bolganone is very cool looking, but it's not that effective of a spell. It's generally too heavy and inaccurate to be that much worth using. I used the Tempest Blade, right? I did, nice. Although I'm a little worried because Hetzel has not tried to use his staff yet. Yeah, if Soren does get silenced, that could actually be bad. Although I do have Ina, I can just put him next to Ina and that'll cure it. Like I said in Bio, it's a good thing that we get Ina now, because, yeah. This chapter is very heavy on status conditions. Please be... I shouldn't have said that. Please be good level up. Nah, that was actually pretty decent. Yeah, I saw that coming. 19. Now, if... like, theoretically speaking, she could die here if I get really unlucky, but that's probably not going to happen. That's exactly what I wanted you to do. Nice one. Unfortunately, I don't one-round you, because I'm not in range of, Ina. I probably would one-round you if Nisala... Well, I one-round you now. I probably would one-round you if Nisala had SS and Strike, but he does not start with an SS and Strike. He might end up getting one. Something that I forgot to mention in Kurthnaga's bio is, on top of all of his other issues, he only starts with an A rank in Strike. Which, since Strike ranks also affect accuracy of Lagu's weapons, yeah. Considering his starting skill... Like I said in his bio, I have actually used Kurthnaga before, and you really need to do something about his accuracy problems early on. Because his accuracy sucks. Big time. One of the few times a Heaven Affinity support is useful, and that's really sad. Well, that's pretty much the way Vantage is intended to be used. I had so much fun with Vantage, Wrath Largo in, Path of Radiance, but sadly, that's done, because he's turned to stone now. Anyway, these guys thankfully do not have any staves. They're all Shine Bishops, so we can just take them out with Ike, no problem. Speaking of Ike, let's see, we are getting closer and closer to Hetzel. These generals, though, are really annoying because they're standing on cover, so they effectively have 41 defense. Physical attacks are not breaking through them anytime soon unless you're using it. Like, they can even take hammers reasonably well. And thanks to his cover, Hetzel's pretty hard to take down. Well, actually, he's not that hard to take down, but still. Okay, Soren needs to cure Peleus. I mean, it's not entirely necessary, but I might as well do it anyway. The Restore Staff! Don't you wish this was in Fates? I sure do. Yeah, the main problem I have with the status conditions in Fates is not that they exist, but more that there's just no way to cure them. Like, even Thrakia, with its famously evil status conditions, that had a Restore Staff. If I do that... Let's go ahead and get rid of you so that someone else can go up there and try and take out Hetzel. Because, yeah, he only exists to be pure support. And yeah, I will be showing endgame boss conversations because there are a lot of them. That will come in bonus videos after the playthrough's finished, though, because it's going to take me a long time to get all of those. But many of Hetzel's boss conversations are actually really sad. If Nisala goes there, Lekhain can attack him, so let's not do that for now. Because I don't really want him to get coronered. I could take you down immediately. And that is a special boss conversation, so you know what, I might as well do that. I'm so sorry about this, but this is a route map, we have to. I'm sorry. Tibon has a particularly good boss conversation with this guy. He just says, to thank you for taking care of Raphael all those years ago, I'll make this quick for you. Yeah, TV Trope says it best. In the end, Hetzel's really just a terrified old man. Which is actually pretty sad that we still have to fight him, but he refuses to back down even after, Hetzel's boss conversations are interesting because he's a case of, he'd fit in pretty well with Persona 5, actually, because he definitely has that accomplice by inaction thing going. he feels responsible for all of those things that happened, because even though he wasn't the one who actually committed all those atrocities, he did stand by while they were occurring and never said anything about it when he really could have. The difference between him and some of the Persona 5 issues is that he actually admits it. His generic boss quote is actually particularly sad. He says that salvation is denied to him and he knows his torment will be eternal. So, yeah, there are a few boss conversations with him where he mentions that there were times that he could have spoken out and he wishes that he did, but... So, it's just another tragedy of this war, I guess. Just a random note, according to the art book, Hetzel's about 61, and I think, let me just quickly check my notes here. And Lekane... no, Hetzel's about 64, and Lekane is, 51-ish. According to the art book ages, Oliver is supposed to be only around 40, but I don't believe that. That's probably how he sees himself, but yeah, I don't believe it. Like I said, these guys up here are extremely annoying. This guy's going to require a double stun to actually kill. I like those little, they're kind of like braziers on the sides there. They're not lit though, but they look pretty cool. Yeah, not even a single stun. At this point, I might as well just send Edward back, because I know that I'm going to have to deal with reinforcements spawning from here eventually. I don't know exactly when, but I probably will have to deal with them someday, because eventually Lekane's going to start teleporting. Okay, going to have to watch out for you with Sanaki. I don't know if those generals move at all. I'm guessing they don't. Because yeah, when Lekane teleports for the first time, he likes to go here. And I hate it when he goes here, because then Nasala can't attack him. He can go there as well, I think. Okay, so... I guess Rolf can stand on a wardwood to protect himself from these guys. One-shotting them even without Ina. The double bow does have a pretty ridiculous amount of might behind it. I wonder if it wins the award for most improved weapons in Path of Radiance, because the Path of Radiance double bow was pretty awful. 4 range exactly. There are very few situations where that's useful. And it doesn't even have a lot of power either. I wonder if Ina can actually do decent damage to these guys. Actually, her damage against them is not bad. Huh. I don't need to worry about her transform gauge going down at all, thanks to the Luku's gem. Otherwise known as Be a Royal for one chapter, sort of. At least Ina's got pretty good resistance. Okay, yeah, you guys are probably all going to end up attacking... I just realized something. Leanne. I don't want you guys attacking Leanne at all. There aren't many good places for me to get a double chant, although... Can you... can't quite... I could get a double chant on those two, that's not a bad idea. And that makes Leanne a little bit more safe, I guess. And yeah, weapon primary disadvantage plus Wardwood, plus you being a bishop equals Peleus. Sadly, probably does more damage than with staves. And that's extremely sad. But I mean, there's always the chance that I could end up getting, Flare, so I might as well still go for it. No Flare there. Probably shouldn't have used Doreen because the animation's a little bit long, but oh well. And even with Weapon Triangle Advantage, you still barely do anything. Has Weapon Triangle Advantage ever mattered for Light in this game at all? Because Micaiah doesn't find any dark magic uses, I'm pretty sure. And there we go, now you can use Balbereth. Which I probably should trade trick onto you, but I don't think I can do that this turn. Is that a rain? I don't think so. But yes, Herons with Celerity and boots are very, very useful. I didn't show it on camera, but I did give Leanne the boots. Yeah, see the +2 in movement? Yeah, she normally has 5 untransformed, I think, so yeah, that is the boots talking. Even if she does get some coroner, though. Okay, how about this? Nope, bad idea. I mean, the chance of them actually killing Micaiah is pretty low, but still, it's a chance. How about Brave Lance? 4 chances at Impale. I'll definitely go for that. And got her on the second one. Not that much else to say about this chapter. We're slowly approaching. I guess one other thing I could say is that one advantage that Leanne and Rayson have over Raphael here is that they can fly. Raphael, though, in speedruns, he generally just chants in the center for Lagu's Royals. But, well, I suppose if Micaiah doesn't have anything better to do, she can just go ahead and physic. That's interesting. It's a very, very low hit rate. It does increase the closer you are, though. 30 hit rate with Sleep on Lekane. I'm also not entirely sure if status stars follow true hit. They might not, now I think about it, but I guess for now I'm going to have to hope that Lekane doesn't teleport, and if he does end up staying where he is, then I'm going to attempt to sleep him next turn, even though it's probably not going to work, but we'll see. It'd be pretty awesome if it did. And the good news is sleep doesn't prevent special boss conversations, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Raphael can't fly, so he can't go over these gaps in the terrain here. Oh, speaking of the terrain here, something that I haven't actually mentioned yet is that Endgame does not count as indoors for the purposes of cavalry. So flyers and cavalry do not have -2 movement in here, and that is extremely useful. I forgot to talk about that when I was talking about, like, choosing an endgame party, but yeah. Okay, here is Lekane's special attack. Silence Judge. This hits everyone in a wide area and inflicts silence, but it has much less of a chance of working against mages. So the vast majority of the time, it'll end up silencing physical users and no one else. However, Peleus to get affected, sadly. So, many of the endgame bosses have AoE attack, which many people refer to as judge attacks. Lekane's is an AoE silence. Now, one thing to know about AoE attacks is that they don't discriminate. If a character is coded to not attack certain people, AoE attacks will still affect those characters. They know neither friend nor foe, only destruction. However, Lekane is a heartless jerk, so he doesn't have anyone on his pacifism list, so we don't need to worry about that here. But in a few chapters, we'll see a boss with an AoE attack that we will need to watch out for, because this boss is normally coded to not attack herons, but herons can still take damage from his AoE attack, so you'll need to watch out for that. AoE attacks that do damage, their damage is proportional to how close you are to the enemy that uses the AoE. So the further away you are, the less damage you take, and the damage peters out very, very quickly. If you're even like 5 spaces away from them, expect to take 0 damage. Oh no, Ike is silenced, whatever shall we do? Yeah, that's always been the problem with silence in the Fire Emblem series. It only has reliable hit rates against physical units, the characters that you don't want to be hitting with silence anyway. If silence, for example, prevented you from using skills, then maybe it would be a little more dangerous. Oh, hi there! And yay, Rolf is cured of silence, like that's gonna matter. Okay, you're all axe generals, so Ike is gonna do decently against you. And Blood Tide again. I wonder if I could potentially get Peleus to attack Lekane this turn. First things first, though. Micaiah did not get silenced because her resistance is insane. So, let's have you go as close to Lekane as you possibly can and attempt to put him to sleep. It's still unreliable, but let's do it. Ah. That would have been really cool if it had worked. At least it's worth a ton of experience. Great thing about status styles, they give you massive amounts of experience even if they miss. Okay, so, slight problem here. I would very much like Peleus to get to... I need to flip it down. So let's double bow this guy's face off. I would like, if possible, to wrap this up before the reinforcements from the starting area spawn, because they just drag out the chapter a lot. Yeah, on my hard mode run, I forgot about them, and Ina was down there at the time. She really shouldn't have been, but she was for some reason. And she didn't die, but there were a few close calls. Okay, you are getting restore staffed now. Leanne can't quite get all the way up there. Because I would really, really like for... Oh, you're an X guy, but the problem is you have that stupid tile going. Actually, 13 damage even with the cover tile is not bad, and you could probably skill that guy to death if you get lucky. Yeah, not much. Oh, and I can't even shove Leanne either. I suppose I'll go for this for now. Also, look, Mia is now in good biorhythm. That means enemies should beware. Because that happens. And there's a full Astra. Actually, no, wait, that was only 42 Astra, wasn't it? Probably need to get Edward caught up with experience. I might need to give him Paragon soon. Okay, that's dead. Concoction for some reason. I could try attacking... Yeah, because Lekane doesn't take a lot of damage from its cover tile. See, ideally, I want both Peleus and Nasala to get to him. Peleus does have Fenrir. I could at least do that. Like, all I really want to do is show the boss conversation with Peleus, because it's kind of, I wouldn't say useful. Oh, you're still listening. I wouldn't say useful, but it's pretty interesting. And also a very considerable change from the Japanese version. In my practice runs of this chapter, Aaron usually did more. Okay, that's that general down. Now, unfortunately, we still have to deal with you guys on those terrain tiles. I mean, I probably should just set Peleus up there, because both those guys are range and will probably go for him, but I really, really want to show Peleus' special boss dialogue here. Come on, stun! That's probably not going to be a kill. It's going to leave you on one. Yes, it's going to leave you on 1 health. Dang it. Well, at least he's going to die next turn. Okay, if I move Nasala down there... So to that square. Have Nasala whack you, and then cancel to... I kind of wish that I could lock in our range. Okay, so it's just like 3 spaces down from that other mission. Okay, that guy's gone. So like there, that should be, right? Okay. Oh, I can't chant for Peleus. Can finally use Balbereth, though. Okay, this is probably my best bet at getting all the boss conversations here. I'm actually going to go ahead and battle save now. So firstly, Peleus versus Lekane, I really need to show this one. Makaira and Soph versus Lekane are also great conversations, but I'll show them later. So that's a pretty generic power of friendship conversation. In the Japanese version, that conversation is very, very different. However, I am actually gonna reset after that. So, in the Japanese version, Peleus actually says that... oh, by the way, let's show Valbero for the first time. Peleus actually says that the mark of the Blood Pact has started to fade on his arm, and he's deduced that that means the Blood Pact has already lost most of its power, and that's because Lekane, apparently in the Japanese version, already died off-screen and was brought back by Ashura, and that caused the Blood Pact to lose its power over Daen. So yeah, in the Japanese version, the Blood Pact was a simple plot device that literally vanished when it was no longer needed. The Blood Pact just was gone, it had lost its power by this point, because Lekane died once off-screen and we never knew about that. It's really, really unsatisfying, and I much, much prefer how the Blood Pact was handled in the English version, where... Oh, I actually need Soth to be going up here so that he can get that chest. Okay, yeah, not everyone is going to die this turn, so I can probably safely get to that chest. But yeah, I much prefer how it worked in the English version. The fact that they make it very clear the exact way that the Blood Pact curse has to be broken. And there's another change regarding that we'll see at the very end of this chapter. But yeah, as controversial as the Blood Pact is, I hope I've been able to have informed people that in the Japanese version it was even worse. That's basically how I sum it up. I do need to make sure that if Leanne goes there, not many things can attack her, because even the bishops will still do a ton of damage. But they're mostly all blocked, which is nice. Okay, now there is something that I'm really hoping will happen here. Unfortunately, it might not. But I really desperately hope it does. Please get Tear. So, there's a reason I brought Nasala to Endgame, and it's this. Finally, the truth comes out. This is what Nasala meant when he told Micaiah she was much like him. This has been implied all this time, in fact, to some extent even as early as Path of Radiance. Remember back when Nialuchi said Kilvas has its own problems to Tiban and the others, but refused to elaborate further? And we saw that king, in that scene where Lekane described the Blood Pacts, they had black wings. Nasala was not the original person to sign the Blood Pact. It's implied that was one of his ancestors who did. However, Nasala has always been good at finding loopholes in things, especially when those loopholes allow him to backstab people, without it technically counting as a backstab. Nasala is such a master backstabber that, yeah, he can find ways to do this. So as satisfying as it, there are many satisfying ways to defeat Lekane. With Micaiah, with Soth, with Peleus. Ike has a great boss conversation with Lekane as well. It's actually pretty important because he basically... Lekane's like, I am the chosen of Ashura, I am so awesome, you have no chance against me, I'm the mastermind behind everything, wahahaha. And then Ike's like, you know about the whole medallion thing, right? And Lekane's like, what? What the heck is the medallion? I have no idea what you're talking about. And then Ike's like, you really have no idea what's going on, do you, mastermind? In air quotes. And that kind of sums up Lekane very well. Lekane is of a character archetype that I like to call, well, that I think TV Tropes calls the wannabe Garneth. Other members of that archetype include Excellus from Fire Emblem Awakening. Basically, the wannabe Garneth is usually an evil magic user like the Garneth archetype, but the difference is the wannabe Garneth is exactly what it says on the tin. They think they're an ultimate evil mastermind, but they're nowhere near as smart or as influential as they think they are. And in the end, they tend to die begging for their life. And generally being pathetic. They're usually kind of a joke in gameplay as well. So yeah, apart from Excellus, other examples in the series include, Darren from Fire Emblem 7 kind of counts, but he's a little bit unique in that he's fought halfway through the game, and that also the main characters at that point actually think he really is the mastermind. But there've been quite a few examples of this throughout the series. I think wannabe Garneth, like, the Garneth archetype is obviously the evil magic user who's behind everything. But Lekane fits the wannabe Garneth archetype perfectly. In the end, he's nowhere near as influential of a villain as he thinks he is. And in fact, that thing at the beginning of the chapter when he said, "I have been blessed by the goddess Ashura," we'll find out later in Endgame, this is actually a complete lie. Characters who are blessed by Ashura have a certain skill assigned to them. Lekane does not have this skill. So yeah, complete lie. Or at least he's deluded himself into believing it. But nope, he's not blessed by Ashura. He's not her chosen at all. Okay, please don't double Ina. I'm pretty sure Ina doesn't get doubled by this, but still. Oh, even if she did get doubled, she wouldn't die, because red dragons have a lot of health. Even a red dragon who has atypically low health for a red dragon. I mean, Ina's more like a pink dragon than a red dragon, which is sort of a hybrid red and white. I still wonder what a hybrid red, white, and black would be. Okay, good news, the reinforcements from the starting area haven't spawned yet. Bad news, I need to kill off these generals quickly. Even worse news, Soph needs to get to this chest quickly, which means I'm maybe forced to use Leanne on him. You're an axe user, I wonder if I can do this. That doesn't quite do enough damage. But you could just do an epic skill barrage. Please get an epic skill barrage. I can't believe that I got Ren on my first try against Lekane. But yeah, I think killing him with Nisala is the most satisfying of all. So, with Lekane dead, we'll see the implications of that soon enough. In fact, you do not actually go all the way down here and try and take out that guy. And then Micaiah can actually finish off the general. Again, more instances of Endgame party being awesome. As is pretty much typical Endgame, but slightly less so in the English version. It's still, I admit though, it would have been really funny if Micaiah had actually got sleep on Lekane. But yeah, when he does teleport, he usually teleports down to that bottom corner where it's surrounded by little statues and you can't actually attack him with physical units. It's really annoying when he does that, so I'm glad that I got him before he could teleport. Well, you're annoying. But you have just enough health to die to Nisala, which is good. I am hoping Nisala will hit an SS in Strike soon. Because once he does, his weapon gets a much-needed might upgrade. And at that point, he starts hitting almost as hard as Tiban, because he doubles more things than Tiban does. Like, in the end, they're roughly about the same in terms of damage. Nisala doubling usually equals Tiban hitting once, although there is a certain skill later that will allow Tiban to double certain things. He's not capping strength, unfortunately. Okay, how close are you to... let's see... You are capped skill, but... and his strike rank is coming along. Okay, so... that's annoying. And the Brave Axe won't work. Okay. Do have Ike, though. So if Sanaki didn't get silenced... okay, so question... I doubt... oh, just off that, unfortunately. But I think I have enough people to finish off everyone here. But first step is I'm going to do this, because Micaiah might actually be able to contribute here, we'll see. Be kind of nice if that was the case. Okay, now you unlock that chest, and with this we get... Matrona. This is the SS rank staff, and as ultimate staffs go, I find this one a bit disappointing. It's only single targeting. It restores all HP, and it also restores their biorhythm to maximum, but it's really just a superpowered physics staff. At this point, you already fully restore people with physics staffs anyway. But it does have one funny thing going for it. It has a 100% crit rate, and I do mean 100%. It's actually guaranteed criticals during battle, so, if you like having Oliver cave in things skulls with staves, this is a fun staff to use. Let's just get rid of the card. Because Micaiah hopefully will be able to use, stuff eventually. Actually, that actually does put you into kill range with Ina. This is working out surprisingly well. Though I would have kind of like Coronet there, that would have been cool. That would have meant Ina could attack someone else. Micaiah actually did okay in this chapter. But still, her speed is awful. Even when fixed with bonus experience, it's not great. Okay then, so if you go here... Rare footage of Ina actually killing something. Though she's pretty good with magic cards. Okay, take you down. Oh, and that's the victory animation. In fact, I think that's the first time I've ever seen in the victory animation. Right then, we have two generals. That guy, they're both from Wardwood. However, I'm pretty sure that even with Wardwood, yeah, Soren still destroys them, so let's have Soren destroy them. Peleus may not destroy them, though, even with Wardwood. Nope. Okay, then. But Rolf... Actually, let me just check something first. Little Lord Ike does exactly enough to finish you off, which is great. I should have the chapter done this turn. So Ike is still one speed short of 34, but I can probably bonus experience him up to that level. I mean, you've, let me just check. Yeah, he's cap skill now. Actually, no, wait, I can have Aaron attack you, and then I have Jill save for the middle area, even though I probably don't even need her. I think this went pretty well, all things considered. Just cleaning up the stragglers here. Yeah, Rolf will double bow that guy, and then Peleus will... Fittingly, Peleus will get the last enemy in this chapter. I thought you'd do that. And now Soren is out of Ike's support range. But he's in Ike's support range here. That... Well, actually, I still would have been able to finish this with Jill, but anyway. Flare, please? No. I will say I'm actually not a big fan of Balberos animation. It just kind of fills the screen with a bunch of brown smoke. It doesn't really look all that great, especially compared to this, and it's also very slow. Oh yeah, and we have Rexaura now. We never got to see Lacane use Rexaura, but we have it now. You could obtain Rexaura in Path of Radiance, but it was a little tricky. What's my best accuracy? I think Balberoth actually is my best accuracy. And so, fittingly, Peleus finishes off this map. There we go. So now that the map's over, we have a very interesting and important cutscene to see. Firstly, the music that's playing here is actually an unused victory theme from this game. Now, if anyone has played the Japanese version up to this point, please inform me. I feel like this music here will only play in the English version, because this scene is pretty much English version exclusive. Obviously. Because it's about destroying the physical documents. But yeah, it seems like the English localization repurposed an unused song from the soundtrack just for this scene. With Lekane dead, and the physical document destroyed, which, by the way, this artwork, not in the Japanese version, I don't think. I could be wrong about that, though. But it does look a bit different to the other artwork in this game, so I feel like the English version may have created that. And that's over. With that, Dayan is saved. And with a little bit of help from Nasawa. Speaking of which, this scene obviously changes if you've brought Nasawa. There are 4 variations on this scene, depending if Peleus is alive or not, and if Nasawa was brought to Endgame or not. If Nasawa wasn't brought to Endgame, Sanaki gets his blood pact and says she'll deliver it to him later. Funny that you should... I mean, you're not one to talk regarding betrayal. So, there's a very major change from the Japanese version here. In the Japanese version, for some reason, Nasawa's curse did not fade with Lekane's death. He just says, oh, my situation is a little different. Lekane's death won't have any effect. No reason why, it's just there, and yeah, that's all you get. Nasawa's not freed from the blood pact in the Japanese version, so another pretty significant change. There's sadly a whole ton of extra dialogue between Ike and Sanaki here that was cut from the normal mode script. In the extended script, they have a big discussion on how, while Lekane was the mastermind behind the Serenes massacre and the assassination of the previous apostle, it's wrong to blame him alone for it. Because he had underlings, he had people he manipulated, he had the citizens who helped him without realizing it. I like that, just explaining that, you know, one person is not responsible for an entire atrocity. But that's all gone from this script. There's also a really huge line from Yune about Lekane that was cut from the normal mode script. And I really wish that she said this. So here's Yune's musings on Lekane in that version. Humans are so strange. Is being chosen by the goddess such a huge deal for you humans? If you're not chosen, does that mean you can't obtain happiness? That man, in order to make himself become chosen, hurt and manipulated so many people. If doing that led him to happiness, then I might understand. However, even in the second before his death, his heart was filled with doubt and unhappiness. All of that's gone in this version, so I kind of miss Yune musing on Lekane there. This is still there in both versions of the script, though. Well, I mean, she's the goddess of order, after all. But yeah, we've had hints of this before. Ashura wasn't always the way she is now. But we'll see the implications of that later. Anyway, with that done, we'll be moving on to the next Endgame chapter, where it's time to face a destined duel. See you then.